Hello, 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 everyone. Um, I'm Rafael Morgan, VP of Marketing and Partnership at Crazy Games. Today we are doing a live stream with Mark. Where is Mark on the screen?
Hi, I'm here. Hi, Raphael. How are you?
Hey, cool. So Mark's from the Photon team. Together we also have Everton. So can we also bring
Hello,
Everton from the
everyone.
Crazy Games?
Developer relations here at Grace Games.
So maybe Mark, you can introduce yourself a bit. Tell about what you do at Photon.
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting us in this jam. So my name is Mark Val. I'm head of growth at Photon. I am behind my title. I'm a full stack engineer. So I've been helping game developers and founders to succeed in their quest in building awesome multiplayer experience. I'm here today to guide you into your quest in building the best game for this jam.
Awesome. So, this will be an informal conversation. So, if you have any questions, you're free to ask. We have a few slides, but we're not going to do a presentation. It's really just more a talk. Can we bring the slides to the screen? Not the page, the other one, the slides. Yes, yeah, perfect. So today we're here to talk about the crazy web multiplayer game jam that we're doing together with Photon, and we're really excited. We're seeing the registration coming in, and we have some information that I think it's important. So if you want to comment or bring questions during the conversation, please do so by using the YouTube channel. It's Crazy Games Dev Talk. You can search, you find it. If you ask the question over there, we can bring in a very fast prompt to the screen, so we can comment on that. Also, really cool. The jam starts tomorrow, so you still have time to register. Registration is open on the jam.crazygames.com, and there you can also find the Jammers Guide, which provides all the information that you need, plus the links and all the cool stuff that Photon has been building for this game jam. On top of that, which I think it's one of the most exciting parts about this jam, is the collaboration that we're doing and working together, providing support to you, developer. So if you join the Discord server from the jam, there will be people from both Crazy Games and Photon helping you out. So if you get stuck, if you have any questions or anything, please just drop us a message over there. We'll be looking at the yeah, we'll be there to help you out. I understand, knowing developers and talking with them for years now, I understand that multiplayer can be very, very scary, especially if you haven't tried yet. But we're really sure. I'm personally really sure that Photon makes it very, very easy, as easy as it can be, and that's why we've decided to partner up with them on this game jam. So today is just a pre-event. We're here just to show that we're real people, that you can talk to us, and that we want this contact with you. But the real kickoff is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Summer European time, and you have like an announcement trailer where you're also gonna see probably the Ziggy opening that we did for the jam. Yeah, so those are some really core information about it. We're very excited to be here. So I spoke to Mark a little bit before we start the jam, and we really defined that there are some topics that we want to address during the conversation. So and those are some of the things. So we will start. I'll pass the ball to Mark if he wants to do any comments before we start with the onboarding on the jam.
Yeah. So I mean, multiplayer in on the web has been there for a bit more than 20 years. So it's been a very long time. But performant WebGL games are very something that is new for the platform, for the browser. We've seen multiple games being shipped that are extremely successful. They have many players in rooms and globally represented. So it's definitely something to investigate because as we know, multiplayer browser games haven't been as high quality as what we would have hoped through the days. And now developers can really pretty much do everything they want. So on that end, it gives more doors to be creative. So I'm super happy to be here today and explore more about what is possible, what is not possible, and how to get started, and how you guys can be successful.
Right. So I mean, on the topic onboarding, right? So what is the first thing that developers should do once they sign up for the jam? In regards to using Photon.
Yeah, that's right. So I would say that for jams in general, most developers comes with preconceived idea about what to build. In multiple times in jams, I've saw projects that were going way too far into either the lore or the storyline or elements that are details, while it is really about focusing on where is the fun. And the fun usually is extremely simple. It can be, stacking blocks all the way up to pushing people all over the place, or being the first to the goal line. Those are simple elements that can bring fun. And so it's really to focus on those and making sure that they are that your loop, your core loop, is fun and easy to integrate, and then you start iterating on that afterwards. So obviously we have multiple paths to get you started, and we're going to look at that in very shortly. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, can't wait. Very exciting. We actually get to play some of those samples, and I think it's very powerful and very helpful, and it brings some really cool integration already with crazy games, so we can save time with that as well. Yeah, so maybe just as a comment here, how do you think that using Photon can simplify the onboarding multiplayer comparing to setting up your own backend, for instance?
Oh well, it's like that's a huge question. Meaning that so building your home backend obviously is not what you're looking for here for a jam. You want a tool that is already all set up. Netcode is not something that is easy to integrate and making work properly. As for Photon, well, there are multiple ways to get started. So we have our old libraries, which are called real time, which we have JavaScript SDK for that, or you can go all the way to having it running on a Node.js server in the back. That is probably the easiest integration if you want to stay native as possible to the browser. But here, really, what we recommend is to either start Unity or construct and build your game with the engine. You're going to go much faster. And as for us at Photon, we have all of our samples supports all of the platforms of Unity. So WebGL should work with every of our samples. But then we have a recommendation regarding topologies, which topologies to choose for WebGL. It's not everything that works well, and also regarding the difference between fusion and quantum, there are some that are important to understand from the get-go, and we're going to cover that as well. So I can either go straight into the quadrant and show the difference between the various topologies we have. So I can start by sharing my screen probably. There we go. So
Just
so
a
the goal
quick thing
here
on
today
the
is,
on that
is not
samples.
to bring slides and presentations and whatnot, but to go the same as you guys as developers, and to find that information so that you can so that you can also succeed in building multiplayer WebGL games. So first thing first, we made a blog post not too long ago to guide you into what is ideal for WebGL and what should be considered. So it covers the jam that we're doing this or our coming jam that is starting tomorrow, but also like we're covering what is the best topologies and which product are best to be used for this jam. And one thing to really look at is our quadrant. So for building multiplayer games, it's not everything that fits. So what we've the preconceived concept of most developers is the following, which is that one technology will fit everywhere, and obviously that's not the case. And taking that into consideration, well, you have to ask yourself, so WebGL being a platform that is fairly running over many layers of compute. Let's not forget it's running in a browser, and then with times the compiler of Unity got better to produce WebGL and WebAssembly. That's good for the performance of the game, but still about netcode. That's where the questions arise the most. So to make it easy, like everything on the right, so Quantum and Fusion Shared Authority are the two best topologies that you can use. It's much easier to go that route than go in the server topology or the host client host topology. Not only is it like easier, but it's also better. So for example, if you use a client host topology, then obviously the host is the browser of someone else, and it means that if he is the authority running the whole game and the browser crash or he switch of tabs or other elements, then it's going to run slower. And host migration with the host is really not ideal at all on the browser. So you're better up to go straight to the shared authority, so Fusion Shared Authority and Quantum. So the biggest difference between the two is that um, Quantum is a deterministic engine, so it means that everything that happens in the simulation is locally. So all the authority is locally. Everything that happens on the screen is simulated locally. So it means it uses a bit more, shall I say, CPU power to run in the browser. But the advantage there is that you can do client-side prediction. So for any games that has speed in it or need like full accuracy, then Quantum is the direction to take. So if you look at shared authority, it's very different than a deterministic simulation where events and property change are shared across all of the players. So it means that you are the master of your own authority as a client. All the clients have authority on their own spawn objects and other elements. So it makes it easier on the CPU, obviously, because it doesn't have to compute everything that happens in the scene and do the prediction and rollback. So in short, like if you want to keep it like super simple, is that everything that is on the right side of the quadrant is what you have to look for, and then it's more about what type of gameplay you want to build. If you want to, if you have a gameplay that is all about speed, accuracy, and it's very important to be precise, then go with Quantum. If you have something that is more smooth, that is more, should I say, easy to give authority to, and you don't have like high precision, then go with shared authority. It's going to be much easier anyway than using Quantum. So that's the first part. Yeah.
So can we bring?
I
We
see
so
there's
we
a
got
bunch of questions.
we,
So
yeah we got a bunch of questions here. Maybe we can bring one.
so first, like I must say for the viewers that Luke is in the chat. So Luke is one of our tech lead here at Photon, and he can answer all the technical questions that don't go in depth enough. So feel free to ask as many questions as you like. Obviously, we're here to help you out.
Well, let's bring a first question then. I'm curious. All right. So, what kind of video games are better created with Fusion, and which ones with Quantum?
Yeah, that's right. So it goes a bit to what I was saying earlier, which is precision is everything. So, for example, if we take the last Crazy Game Jam, the winning game of that jam was a Quantum game, and maybe we can pull it out later. But it's sort of like a 2D racing game, and so obviously you need to be precise. It goes super fast in the screen, and it's extremely accurate. So this is using Quantum. If you want to do something that is not necessarily as accurate regarding speed, but it's more something like, okay, well, pushing people around, or even having like a platformer where the first one to reach the end of those platform, but without, that is more like skills that is required than speed. So then probably the shared authority would be better.
I think just to complement his question a little bit, I think that also depends a little bit also on the developer experience, right? Because I
That's
think they
correct.
have like a different.
So if it is your, you know, so it depends on much time you have as well. Okay, so Quantum is an engine on its own. So it means that it has its own input system. It has its own ways to build bots. It has its own way to move character around. So in short, Quantum is stripping away all of the simulation that you normally use with Unity. So Unity just becomes a renderer. So you have to learn a new way of building games, which is using our entity component system. And by doing so, you will learn how to work with determinism. So obviously, since it's not, those are all properties or functions that are new to you. You will have to learn those. But that said, Quantum is much easier today to use than the past 5 years. Most developers who start with Quantum, they're all saying, okay, it's hard at the beginning, but after that, it's extremely easy. So for those that wants to learn what is the best practices to build deterministic game, then I would suggest to go with Quantum, because you're going to learn tons, but also you're going to have something that is super performant for multiplayer. And as for those who maybe have a bit less time and wants to get the results very fast, then go with shared authority, because then it's really your Unity universe and what you know, and you're gonna get started much faster.
I had some time to experiment with the samples as well, and I highly recommend everybody to check them out, because if you already have an idea of the game that you're going to create, check those samples.
And I mean, you can already do this before the team is revealed, so you prepare, you experience that, you know everything. So highly recommended, and it's playable, it's functional. So I think it's quite cool. Awesome.
So one thing I can suggest, we have more questions, so let's go with more questions.
We have like a bunch of questions coming. It's actually quite exciting. I love the participation, by the way. So let me read this one from Lo-Fi Games. How much total size does Photon Fusion share mode without any extra added-ons added to the final build of the game?
That's a very good question. So it's all about how much more you can strip, right, for WebGL. And obviously, like, some people will be able to strip it down to even more to what we're doing. But I think Luke in the chat can answer that more precisely, but it's very minimal. Meaning that so Quantum does replace a bunch of elements. So I think the build is a bit bigger than what Fusion Share will give. Luke in the chat can confirm. But those are very minimal. I mean, it's all it's all code for the simulation itself. So obviously, when you have a web browser game for new clients who never had any Unity build before, they first have to download the Unity player, then after that download the game. And all of these assets can be streams, obviously, using asset bundles and others. So another solution. So there's multiple ways to make it like very fast, but we're talking about in the very low megabytes regarding like the size of this whole thing. And as we progress, well, we're just going to make it smaller and smaller and smaller. Otherwise, if you look at our real-time JavaScript SDK, then it's just, I think it's under 1 megabyte. It really depends on what you're looking for and what you're trying to build again.
Well, excellent, because that's a big topic on the web. We all know optimization, game size, loading loading times are a big topic.
Just to continue on that a little bit. So a bit later, we're going to play a few samples. And so we build the samples for this jam. It's called Flagrant Disregard. And that build, with everything, the sounds, the characters, and the Crazy Games SDK is about 30 megabytes. So it gives an idea of what you can get.
And that's a 3D game with animations and everything.
That's
So
right, with sound, animation, full multiplayer, the whole shebang, right? So yeah.
The internet and like the technology is beautiful, right? Awesome. So I would like to we will advance and show the samples and keep the conversation going. So if you have more questions, please send. We'll try to answer everything. We still have quite some time to go. But I also like what I like most about game gens is the creative process, is the brainstorming, what I'm gonna do, what type of game, and everything. So I would like to advance to the next topic, which is like being creative. And I actually have a curious question for Mark, as like has seen more multiplayer games that I do that I did, I believe. So I would say, like, talking about game jams, or even published games. What are the most unconventional multiplayer concepts you've seen?
Oh,
Using.
unconventional. So we did multiple multiplayer game jams, right? So we had games that were requiring a lot of people to do something. So it means that let's say it's an 8-player game, then those 8 players have to do something precisely at the same time that are different. So it means that you need coordination. So they also implemented voice, so they can give cues to each other, and that's something I really suggest to all jammers. Is it's a multiplayer game. Add voice. If it's fairly easy to add, it's going to add more bandwidth, but it doesn't matter because it just adds so much more um, uh, uh, vibe to the game itself. But anyway, so and then since it wasn't unconventional, people were not used to that type of game mechanic. Then it was very hard for them to first find people to test it, and then second to explain it and show it. Right. So stick with what works, right? I mean, like it's either you have a very good onboarding in the game that explains the rules and everything, but most of these games that wins jams are very straightforward, and they're no brainer. I usually say, if you cannot get the gist, in the first 7 seconds of which direction this game will go, then every loop of 7 seconds is, bring the fun down. And maybe it's fun, but it has to start in the proper foot.
no, definitely. Well, for iterate, try to try. I highly recommend the developers to wait for the theme before deciding on what they are making, because I'm already talking to a lot of developers on Discord, and they're already saying, "Oh, hey, I'm going to make this game, this game, and this game," and nobody actually knows the theme. So
Well,
really
we
wait for
know,
that
we know,
and
we are
be
the only
creative.
ones.
We know.
We know. But yeah, but that's also cool. Exactly. One thing, it's also what I like about game gens is also just like, using proven mechanics, just like, do not reinvent the wheel, but give your own like nice twists to it. So I think this it's also a suggestion that I have. Um, yeah. So I would
Oh,
say.
also, being originals is one thing that we are judging for the jam. Check the documentation on everything. So make sure to make something unique.
Yeah, I think it's time.
In terms of inspiration, even to AAA folks here. So here in Montreal, so I'm often going to Ubisoft, EA, and other studios, and often they're like, okay, so what is the latest game mechanic? And me, I have kids. They play Roblox and all kind of different games, and also browser games. And there is so much inspiration out there of new type of mechanics. But the funny thing is that you find them in kids game. You don't like really like targeting 12-year and younger. That's where you're going to find those new type of mechanics, because kids, they don't want to play the things the old farts are playing. They want to play things that are new. So often you're going to find really, really genuine new ideas. And so I highly recommend to take half an hour and browse the top 10 games in those in any platforms like those. You're going to learn tons, and then you can think about how to put it in multiplayer, but usually they are already. So yeah.
Awesome. I think we should let's try to answer another question to make it a bit more interactive. So I used Photon for multiplayer FPS back in 2019. Has it
Oh,
has it changed much since then?
Yes, yes, tons. Like you're gonna love Fusion. So we have now a projectile samples that covers, you know, um, hit scans, but also like rockets, grenades, ricochet between the walls. We have a flamethrower. I think we have also a Gatling gun. So by any means, like, and those are already pre netcode, right? So it means that if you want to build like a first person shooter today, like you start with pretty much everything done. We also have another sample which we can look in a bit, which is called Fusion Starter. And in Fusion Starter, there's three different samples in it, and there's a character controller where to move around. There's also like a platformer, and then there is, and then I think it's in the platformer where you find that there's a gun and how to shoot people in shared topology. So maybe that's something we can do now. Actually, we can
That's
go
good.
see our sample
Yeah.
page. So if you can share my screen again. So we were in the quadrant. So now I'm just gonna go back a little bit to where I was initially, and on Photon.com we have a new category for about 3 months now, which is samples, where you can find all the samples that we have. So it's really the place where you're gonna find most of your inspiration regarding what kind of samples will work right away. So here you have four filters. So as I said earlier, you want to use the right side of the quadrant. So you turn on the shared authority, and you turn on also quantum for deterministic, and then you're up. Oops, sorry. And then you're up for having exactly the selection that you're looking for. So as you see, like there's tons of them, right? Ooh, like I can scroll, 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 scroll. So there's so many. Some of them are for Quantum 2, some are there for Quantum 3. So you have to look at the version. But still, so Fusion Animal Co-op, that's something that is fairly new, that you can explore. And very good samples. Fusion Cooking Co-op, that's another one where it teaches you how to you have your player picking up items and making recipes. We know these type of games, so you can learn out of that. We have the Fusion Crazy Starter WebGL sample, which can look right away now. And that's the sample that we've built for this jam. So it shows you how to use Fusion Shared Authority, how to move around, and so it's a full open source project. We have a bit of explanation about how to spawn a player, how the player is moving around, how the scoring system works, how to create obstacle, and then obviously the integration with the Crazy SDK, and how to invite people, how to join the sessions of others, how to put the build settings properly so that you have a good build. So by any means, like you're gonna get started on the right foot right away, and we can play this game a bit later. But we have way more samples, right? So,
Yes.
you can ignore the VR one, except if you want to explore VR browser. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. but but if we continue to scroll down a little bit, we're gonna find even more. So, Fusion Pirate Adventure, super good action RPG sample,
Play
where
that
it
once
teach
really
you
much.
how to have boss and monsters, and how to have players collaborate to spawn bridge and whatnot. We can have a look later as well. Then we have like quiz games for more simple integration, and also how to how to control projectiles in more of a godlike modes with Fusion Technorock. Um, so that's a tank game, and most of these samples are also on the Unity Asset Store. We can look at that in a bit. And then for Quantum, we also have SDK for that, which is with the craziest SDK. So it's the Quantum Crazy Starter WebGL. So we can look at this, and with so that's the sample that we created for the past jam, and it really gonna get you started on foot with Quantum. and and then you can, take benefits of what a deterministic engine can do for you. And again, like the game that won the past Crazy Game Jam used quantum, and so you can look at the quantum samples to inspire you. I believe even like the last. I'm just trying to find the sample that was used for creating the last game that win. But anyway, so we have also cards. We have the platformer shooter 2D is also working super well in the WebGL browser. So that's something you can explore as well. Quantum Racer 2.5D, that's a really cool one. So for those who remember, Nintendo games, F-Zero, you're gonna find exactly the same thing there. If you want a racing game again, Quantum is really ideal for that. And then more and more and more and more. So we have the simple FPS sample that you can look with Quantum, but also with Fusion. So yeah, like it's very diverse.
It's amazing, right? I think it's amazing. Like you get started, like you have something already. You can add your tweets, and a lot of things have been already thought. So what else you want for a game gen? I think you can combine with the assets. That they are free from, you can get in the asset store or your own assets.
Just
So
work on the creative side, and we already have like.
That's
very,
right.
very
So if you guys wants to join, so it's a fusion-crazy-starter-webgl. So that's flagrant disregard. So that's the sample you can download and work with. So I'm going to start the game here. So in the European region, I'm not sure what is the best for this stream. And then I'm going to start a new game. So if you punch in this link, you guys should be able to join me, which is pretty cool because then we're making like it's always nice to do jams and have a feed because anyone can join your game afterwards and stuff. When you are a very good streamer in a game, we call that stream sniping, but here going out.
I see the link is here. Can we actually push this link to the screen so people see what it is? Because it's a bit hard to share like that. Maybe can you add as a comment on
Yeah, there we go. It's in the chat now. So
can you bring the last comment in? Yes, exactly.
Oh, there we go. So we started to have people. Cool, yes. Awesome.
It's a live show here. It's a live show. So
yeah, that's right. That's right. So, and that's the beauty with multiplayer game is that you can join people and connect to. Okay, there we go. There we go. We have 7 people. So what we all have to do is choose our color. So we go on our color, and then the game will start. So everyone picks its color. Let's go. Oh, wait, so people are dying already. Okay, you just reappear. Pick your color. There we go. So now it starts in 3. Oh, you have to stop jumping.
Stay there. All right. 1 second. All right. I think we're good.
Awesome. Now we have all of these our core that pop, and the goal is to go and get the flag at the end of the course, and bring it back to your goal line. You can steal the flag from others, I believe. So if you see someone with a flag, you can try to grab it from the person, and do your best at winning. But here we go.
And that's why I think it is amazing, right? The fact that we share a link, we're playing together, just show how powerful the web is for multiplayer games, right? Like everybody's playing remotely within a second, and this is just wonderful.
That's right. And here we can see at the bottom of the platform that I'm gonna put my volume lower here. That the names of the users of Crazy Games are pre-integrated. So you have like some cool essential features that are already pre-integrated into the sample, which is gonna make your life easier. So obviously, this is like a starting ground for you to build up your multiplayer game, and all of our samples are the same, right? It's very straightforward to understand how things work, and to inspire you to either copy paste what is already done from us, change assets, change behavior. You can have quick results really fast, obviously, or to clearly build your own custom solution. So as we are waiting for the timer to go down, there's 20 seconds left. So we're gonna see in a bit who's the winner. Oh, I think it's gonna be Red over there. It's doing amazing, and then it's pretty cool. So me, I'm in Montreal right now. This server session is in Europe, and um, uh, and I'm sure there's people from all around the world. But there we go. So now we have a winner. So it was Kind Mouse. There's no prize reward, but let's give a prize for everyone for participation. So that was fun.
Very
So,
cool, guys. Very cool.
so that's the
Thanks.
kind of
Nice.
samples that you have, and you see the crown on the winner. Well done.
Thank you
And
for everybody. participating.
so then again, like you can get this sample directly on our sample page, and have the whole game for you to iterate and have fun with. So we hope that it's a good starting ground for you for this jam. But obviously we have all these other samples that you can look for. But if you want, and then for this jam, you have to integrate the Crazy Games SDK. So having already those features, such as having the name of the player pre-integrated in the game and elements like that, just makes your life a little bit easier. So you don't have to figure out how to integrate those, and then really you can have a faster time to integrate what is required, and then really focus onto making this game fun and iterate.
Awesome. It's like really cool. Really cool that works. All right, let's do another question then. From Rene Bosen. How does I hope I pronounced your name correctly? How does Fusion work with room codes? I noticed we all joined the same server without providing any room code.
That's right. So you have choice. So it's either you join the default room. So obviously we were like in this sample, as you saw, there's no room code, but that's something that is like essential features of real time, which is the tunnel that creates room for us in Fusion or Quantum. So yes, you can use room code. So if you want to make like a private room with the password, you can do that as well. If you want to share a link to someone to join a room, I believe it's entirely possible, grabbing that with the query string at the top of the browser, and then use that as a value to populate the dynamic values that goes with the JavaScript in your game. So that way, when it loads, you can pick it up, and then you know which room, and then join that room. So
There's also a sample for
definitely,
the
like, you
lobby
can do that.
creation, I think.
Sorry, Everton?
I think you guys also have like a sample for the lobby creation and handling the room code and
That's
everything.
right. That's right. So so as part of the sample, there's like two scenes. So there's one scene that we call like menu. so that's like the starting screen where you choose your region, but also to join a game or create a game. So this is part of the sample of flagrant disregard. But also we have like our generic one that has all the features I've talked about. They can look at and learn more about it. But yes, I mean, like you can create lobbies, you can create rooms, you can destroy rooms, you can list rooms. There's all different kind of ways to show players how or where are the players. But essentially, like, you want something that has the less click, that has the less brain usage for the player, especially if it's the first time they play. So by any means, like the quicker you bring them to the room, the faster they're gonna experience the fun, and the more chance they have to, stick to it and explore.
Yeah.
So
This sample also has the invite friends functionality already integrated. I don't know if any of the people that was playing it saw, but once you join the game, there is an invite friends link just below the game frame. That's from the SDK, and that's super helpful on bringing players together as well.
Yeah, So from the Crazy Games SDK, so it's a feature from Crazy Games that's already introduced into the sample. So it's very easy for you guys, and we see this is very very powerful because you press the button and sharing the link. Then you don't have to show on the screen like we did. You can just copy the link and then send it, and then they join the same session. It's very very cool. All right, cool. I mean, we still got some time, but I would like to go to the next topic and then later on bring
Sure.
some more questions. So I think the last topic is like, what do I do if I'm participating in the game jam and I'm stuck? So my question to you, Mark, is like, how can devs leverage the community to unblock themselves?
Yeah, that's right. So being stuck can have multiple flavor, right? It can be stuck creatively, it can be stuck technically, or you can be completely in the void regarding, there's an issue with my machine and it doesn't work. So so being stuck is not fun, right? But at the same time, a jam has a timeline. There's a date that is final, which is something you have to always keep in mind. So where to find help? So obviously, if you are stuck technically, go on Discord. So our team will be there to answer most of the questions. And then if you want uh, faster answer to all of your questions. So there's the room on Discord for this jam, but there's also on Photon server where there's the whole community that can help you out. And obviously you can search. There's tons of search and answers on Discord, but also on the web or documentation. We try to make it as simple as possible for everyone to understand, but it might be elements that are hard to catch. Asking questions is the best thing you can do. If you don't ask, you will not learn. So
Yeah.
use the web as much as possible to go forward. If you're stuck, creatively speaking, you don't know which one to pick, because you either build a game for you or you build a game for someone else. So if you cannot find something for you, try to find something that you think will please someone else. So go in that direction. It might unstuck you, but it's really state of mind that is important.
Wonderful. Yeah, I also I'm quite sure that there will be some mentors, right, Everton, during the jam. Like the folks that are organizing the game jam are good friends from
Right.
Indie Hero, and they actually will be there providing mentoring in different areas, even game art, and if I'm not mistaken. So there's definitely opportunity as well, not on the technical side, but also if you want to talk to an expert, those are all game
Yeah,
developers that
on game
have
design and everything.
game
For
and they have
the
experience
for those
doing
who,
game.
who haven't joined the Discord server, it's directly inside the gem page. So there is a Discord link there. So
Yeah, I'll, sh-
you
I'll
can
show it in the end. I'll finish with showing the page and how you get there. But yeah, so there's a lot of people, a lot of supports. There's like I would say a dozen of people that will be there to support you if you get stuck. The goal really is in the end that you get a playable game that you can share with Crazy Games and eventually make a business out of it as well. And the people can play and they're happy, and then you get feedback and you can iterate and build it on top, and that's why we do these game jams, is to get you started. Yeah, cool. I guess let's do one more question, right? All right. How, I think that's more for Everton, I would say, how will the
yeah.
judge work? All right.
Well, the judging will be done by some of those mentors and by Indie Hero, mainly the guys that are organizing the jam. The topics that are going to be evaluated are in the Jammer's manual, which will be in the jam page. So just scroll down. There is a FAQ at the end. There's also the manual there, and there you can see all the topics that we are going to judge for the games.
All right, cool. That was an easy one. So I think let's do another one then. For Nicholas Daniel, about the Crazy Games Friends Invite, is there a way of adding friends that could be done in game? That's a good one.
No, that's done via on the platform directly. So once the user creates an account on Grace Games platform, they can directly invite their friends via the friends feature, via your own profile on the top right corner of the screen.
Yeah,
So inviting friends, inviting new friends, and inviting friends to play with you should be done via the Crazy Games framework and not directly inside the game.
Right, and what also one other thing, just to go back in the, if you get stuck topic here is, when we saw that also helped a lot, during the last gen that we did, it was, there's a lot of people just kind of like, they're sharing the story as they go. They're sharing like what they're doing. There are other people giving comments and feedback to them and say like, hey, it would be nice if you actually add this to your game. So there are other jammers that will also participate on your development as well. So it's really nice to see. We read everything. Sometimes we also comment on this stuff. So yeah, don't feel like shy. I think the community is very embracing. We want to hear from you as well during the development. If you do something cool, you can always post a nice GIF. We give some the thumbs up there. And yeah, so that's also another thing. All right, let's try another question then from Sea Tiger. Are we allowed to make VR games for the game jam? That's a good one. I don't think we have.
So
I
yeah, maybe I can answer for you. So I mean, it's possible to make VR game in the browser. But it's still very much something that is, shall I say, on in development. Meaning that VR, you have two screens to compute. There is a lot of elements, and you're in a browser running with WebAssembly. Obviously, you have the web GPU that can help tons to on the rendering side. But you're gonna have challenge for support after that. I'm not sure how it behaves, for example, in a mobile browser, and how you can revert back. And then if you wanted to make it work with the Quest and whatnot, that's another question. So I think you're gonna have to do a lot of investigation to have something that is solid cross-platform and all these things. So we might be end up with just a few users that can play those. But in the near future, I can totally see VR being a thing in the browser. It's just a matter of the web consortium to establish standards and to move forward. Yeah.
That's really cool. I think we can bring back the slides, right? We move on to the next topic, now the presentation. Yes, thank you so much. And I think it kind of goes more like what, we are getting a lot of these questions during the jam as well, because, there's also a competition that's running, which means like what is a successful multiplayer game on Crazy Games? I'll throw the question there to Everton, and see like, okay, so where are the KPIs that once the game is published that we're looking into?
For multiplayer games, well, that's really broad, because we do have multiplayer games that have very, very long play times and very, very short play times. I would say that for multiplayer game to be successful on Crazy Games, you should study a little bit the audience. Really, we do have if you check our documentation or just browse a little bit on our website, you see a lot of information about that. We also have some information specifically about multiplayer games on our SDK, about the engagement and everything. Also, that multiplayer games are usually much more, they usually drive much more engagement than single player games. So, but for the question like what really makes a multiplayer game successful, it's so many factors. I recommend checking the live page as well. Just go crazygames.com. You'll see on the left side we have a multiplayer.
We could do that. Can we bring the screen?
I would say that a multiplayer game is as good as the audience, right? Meaning that if you make a super gorish hardcore game, then obviously it's not the same audience as kids. So so if you want to have a high exposure in a kids environment, that's what you have to target. That's for sure for success.
Yeah,
at least that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, so I mean, we're talking about a little bit about Crazy Games. If to everyone that's not familiar with it, we are a platform with 40 million monthly active users. We have an extensive catalog from all different types of developers, from the most like large publishers, like My Games. It has like this more mid-core type of game. We have like some IPs, but we also have a bunch of games that are done like by a hobbyist that's trying something new. And so here you can really see the catalog is very broad, right? But we have a category that we're pushing a lot, that's called multiplayer games, and this is when we spoke about those features like the friends invite, and this is part of all those games. And here, if you visit this page here, multiplayer games, you see what games are currently multiplayer on Crazy Games, right? We have some Photon games, some Unity, and different game engines. And if you are on this page, generally, like what's here on top is what has been played most at the moment. This page is dynamic as well, so you can also get a reference as well about what type of general, like it's been popular at the moment. But at the same time, I mean, if you go on online multiplayer, we have like a portion of the games that actually have this feature. It's not a lot, in comparison to our catalog that's more than 3,000. So you also have a cool opportunity, because I really do think that a lot of developers think it's challenging to get started. So so I think the amount there's a lot of opportunity into something actually, building a multiplayer game on Crazy Games and finding success, because we know that the players like it a lot. As Everton mentioned, there is we see better retention for those games. We also see like there's like this sort of virality aspect where one friend invite the others. We do think like when we also play those whenever we have like team calls, like we have a monthly team call that we pick one of those games. So they're often multiplayer games that we play together. And there's kind of everything, right? From like a sort of like a GeoGuessr type of game to a cards type of game, like FPS, racing game, like more something like Minecraft like game. So it really goes, to kind of like everywhere. So yeah, really recommended to check this page. Understand a little bit the environment. I can talk a little bit
And
about my yeah.
just another thing, check also what's missing on that page. Check what you
Yes.
can add to it. You will see some things repeated. You see that the page has quite a few FPS games, quite a few Minecraft kind of games, but there are missing some really like obvious choices there. So
And
make
and
sure
being
make sure to
being an early mover, yeah, it's always an advantage, right? If you find your own niche there, there's no competition for you. And then you can build your own community. That's something that we've seen happening on Crazy Games as well. We helped, games build like very large Discord communities, because people, they come and they discover this first on Crazy Games, and then and then they want to connect with other players. So I think that that's also a cool opportunity for you if you're thinking about something long term as well, to leverage, working together with Crazy Games, to build your own community. So highly recommended. So those are, I think, the points about what works, on what or which games are successful in Crazy Games. And I think maybe we should do another couple of questions. What does the Crazy Games SDK include? Everton, that's for you.
That is a very broad question, but our SDK has a lot of functions. It's mainly created for supporting the advertisement part. So you see video ads, banner ads, things like that. But it also supports a lot of other things as well, such as cloud saving the data of the users, because the web has this problem that if you're saving data locally and the user clears their cache, the data is gone. So Great Games has the user system, and then the SDK supports you the way to save the data on the user accounts. It has also information about the user that you can fetch, such as username, profile picture, things like that. The invite friends feature that we already spoke about. There are a few other things as well. It also integrates with Xsola for the in-app purchases and a bunch of other things. I think we have a link to our documentation directly on the gem page as well.
Yeah.
But if we don't, feel free to ping me on Discord as well. I'll be happy to help.
All right, maybe let's bring one question for Mark, because I think it's we should use his.
Well,
his
I can continue to try to inspire the jammers. So if you want to share my screen, we can go straight in the Unity Asset Store. So we have over 20 different assets directly available here. And one that I wanted to show earlier, it's called Fusion Starter. And in Fusion Starter, you will have really a good foundation to start your multiplayer game, because it's 3 samples in one sample. As we see, we have the 3D character controller to get you started on how to move characters around. That's a bit what you will find in Flagrant Disregard that we saw earlier, which might be interesting if you want to build other kind of character type of games. Then we have this platformer sample. If you want to build only up, there you go. You have something to start with, but also in this one you have to capture some coins. So maybe you have something about speed and number of coins or anything else. But still, like, elimination games are very fun for the audience in general. And here we have a shooter that is very basic again, but explains to you on how to manage these type of gameplay. And really, it's gonna get you like really started with a solid foundation. So I highly recommend to look at Fusion Starter if you choose share mode. And we have a quantum starter sample that is coming. It's not ready yet, unfortunately, but I can definitely inspire you. So I highly suggest those. And then we have Pirate Adventure, which we can play as well if you guys want. So it's slowly loading up. Let's go Unity. There we go. And then in Pirate Adventure is it's an action RPG game where you and your folks, you have a task to do, and so now you can see your breaking up obstacles, but also you have to collaborate to move from one point to another. And then there is a boss at the end. So now we can see like nav mesh with AIs that attack you. If that's something you want to implement and have the time to go in that direction. Obviously, it adds more depth to the fun of the game. And here we have the boss at the end, which you have to try to destroy with your friends while receiving waves of sharks. So you're gonna see, you're gonna play it. It's very simple, but it gives you so much good best practices that you can go very far with that sample as well. So again, like, I highly recommend to go and watch those samples that we have. And so yeah, so I mean, like, there's so many things you can look at to get inspired. So we have other games that are already available on WebGL that we can play. They are on itch.io. Is that okay if we go in that direction? Oh, you're muted. I don't hear anyone. How's that?
The typical you're muted. I think, like, if that's okay, I will bring the last topic and then we just wrap up.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
And let's just, I think it's the question is again for Everton, but also, Mark, feel free to contribute not only on crazy games but also what you see. What do you think it works and it doesn't work on crazy games or multiplayer games, so to put it, right?
Well, that's also a tricky question, but our audience is really, really broad. As you said, Rafa, we have more than 40 million players every month. So we do receive players that are looking for nearly everything. We usually say try to focus a little bit more on the casual types of games. And of course, if you're looking for creating a game that will go on the front page, try aiming for an audience that's a little bit younger, teenagers mainly, like 12 to 16 years old. But we see also that niche games can do very well on the platform. Of course, you will receive maybe 30-20% of our users that will be more interested in, I don't know, tactical battler, like turn-based RPG games like that. Those are really not mainstream on the platform, but it doesn't mean that they can't perform well, So, like, really, what doesn't work on the platform, well, bad games don't work on the platform. But
especially when we're talking about like with in-app purchase, being a thing on crazy
exactly.
games, and you don't need a bazillion of users to earn some decent money. So, which is also, I think, is also cool. So finding your niche, it can be sometimes even more powerful than having like an extremely broad appeal game. So that's something that we're looking very closely at the moment. So, Mark, would you like to add, would like to add something to this?
Well. Well, I think it's pretty much says it all. We've covered a lot of ground, and um, multiplayer games that are fun are the ones where you see other people as fast as possible. One thing I would suggest is that for games that you can only play the game with other players, and if there's no players when the player comes in and he has to wait, it's very boring. So I highly encourage to integrate a bot SDK, either one of Wars or and to fake to have players. And the idea here is that when you have the players jump in, and there's no players coming, then you can spawn those bots, and at least the player will be able to try the fun of your game, because it's all about trying the gameplay, trying to see if it brings the dopamine up a bit for the player. So the quicker the player reach that states, the more chance you have of success. So really don't mitigate that point. You have to you have to consider this, and making sure that the game is playable as soon as possible.
Yeah, just adding to that, Mark, we've seen so many like really really good games that failed because the players would join the game. The game would be super uh, light, so the game would load in like 2 seconds, and then the player would sit in a lobby screen for like a minute waiting for other players. We've seen that kill so many good games. So make sure to, as Mark recommended, add some bots or something like that.
Awesome. Yes. So I think before we wrap up, I actually want to show you guys one more thing, which I think it's a place you should visit immediately, if in case you haven't, which is the Jam page. You can see the URL is jam.crazygames.com. Here you find the registration, you find the link to the Discord. You also find our developers portal for the submission. For the registration, you have to fill up a simple form. There is more information about the criteria. So the maximum game size is 250 megabytes for your build. But I mean, it's the web, right? So have to be very smart about how you play with game size. There's explanation about the prices. There is also the Jamer's Guide, which I highly recommend you to check it out. So recommendation here is really register, join the Discord, check the Gamers Guide. So with that, I would like to thank very much Mark for his time to be here answering all the questions. Again, also thank everyone who participated. We got tons of questions, very interesting ones. So nice to see that there's a bunch of smart people wanting to make multiplayer games for the web. That makes me very very happy. And with that, I'll pass the microphone to Mark if he wants to do any final considerations.
Yeah, thank you, Raphael and Everton. It was a pleasure to be here. So thank you for inviting. And I also saw in the chat earlier that some people don't have Discord. So if you have questions for Photon, you can reach us at developer@photonengine.com. So developer@photonengine.com. Write us an email, and we're going to try to help you out from there. Our goal is that you guys are successful. So ask questions. We're there to help you out, and good luck. I'm sure you guys are going to create amazing experiences.
Yeah, so generally also, so that you guys everybody know, the communication about the game jam for everyone that register, it happens both per email and also via Discord. So if you're not on Discord, you still can get to see everything that that's happening, that we're sharing. So please register. That's why it's important. We also make sure that to include this email in the next newsletter, then, so everybody know in case
Yeah.
you forgot, right, Everton? If you want to say something else, say goodbye.
Excited to see everybody here, and really looking forward to what everybody's creating. I'll be on Discord like tomorrow and Saturday, and well, the whole next week. So if you guys have any questions, or if you just want to chat, I'll be there. Feel free to ping me. No problem.
All right. With that, I would say thank you, everyone. Let's bring Ziggy again to finish our opening, and we see you guys tomorrow. Good luck.
Good luck, everyone.
We can't wait to see what you guys build. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pam, pam,